Hi, Fullness family, from the home of the Greers. We miss you guys. We love you guys. We look forward to the days ahead when we can give everybody a really big hug and things are back to normal. Um, my family and I have enjoyed the show, The Chosen. The kids have really been into it. Sarah and I have really enjoyed it. And there's one character in particular that I really like in the show, and it's Nicodemus. With that being said, there's a lot of artistic license in the film and in this depiction of this character because we really only get three references to Nicodemus in the gospel. First, Nicodemus. I think we all know Nicodemus met Jesus in the middle of the night to kind of question him. Then there's also the reference that Nicodemus kind of defends, Christ with amongst the religious leaders and crowds that were kind of split on Jesus' teaching, and he kind of, asks whether they should be, convicting a man that hasn't had a chance to testify. Um, and then lastly, Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea are preparing Jesus' body for burial after Joseph, takes or gets permission from Pilate to take the body of Christ. And in that, Nicodemus gives 75 pounds of perfume to prepare the body. So we do get a glimpse that Jesus is important to Nicodemus. And he's in the company of a secret disciple, Joseph, who had fear of their religious persecution, as Nicodemus probably did too in his correspondence with Jesus and meeting him in the middle of the night. But I want to read to you how Jesus initially addresses, or I'm sorry, how Nicodemus, originally addresses Jesus. Um, in the Gospel of John, chapter 3, now there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a member of the Jewish ruling council. He came to Jesus at night and said, Rabbi, we know you're a teacher who has come from God, for no one could perform the miraculous signs you are doing if God were not with him. So we see here that Nicodemus is addressing, from his position of being a well-regarded Pharisee, he's addressing Jesus as rabbi, as teacher. And I think that's important. In the film, there's a lot of correspondence. The following passages where Jesus talks about his kingdom and kind of foreshadows what's going to be happening to him, how he's going to be lifted up for salvation of man, and that salvation comes through the Son. He is the first person to tell, and probably the most appropriate person to tell Nicodemus of the gospel from the Christ himself. And we don't know what Nicodemus's response to this message was, but in the film, I think Nicodemus is understands. He comes to the understanding of that this is the Messiah, and I kind of like that interpretation. But in the film. And again, this is just artistic depiction, but Jesus asks Nicodemus to follow him and to meet his disciples. And later, this leads into what I think is the most heart-wrenching scene in the movie, and that is Jesus is with his disciples before they leave town, and Nicodemus is right around the wall on the other side of it, and has left a bag of coins, that they might find, the disciples and Jesus might find to help in their travels. But he's around the corner and he can't join them. And you can speculate that that's probably true, that Jesus did not go out with the disciples. I mean, he was a well-regarded Pharisee. He had a lot of expectation. He would have, feared for his own persecution had he publicly followed Christ. So we really don't know. But in the film, Nicodemus is, behind the wall, and he's, out of sight, and he's just weeping that he's not able to, that he can't lay those things down and follow Jesus. And Jesus says, you almost, you almost made it. You almost did it. You were so close. and that's just a heart wrenching scene. But I think it's an interesting thought because I think we all can get distracted by following what God has called us to do. Um, uh, I mean, everybody that's listening to this is likely already called into, and called into the faith and are following Christ. But Christ calls us to do a lot of things that are challenging. In the scene, Nicodemus says, "What am I to give up my life, who I am?" And Jesus responds that yes, it would be you'd have to give up much, but what to come is much greater, and is much longer lasting. And I think that's just a truth that we should kind of embrace. Our there's going to be things that in life, whether it's our career, our spouse, our family, that can sometimes hold us back from the dedication to that thing, or even an idolatry of that thing can hold us back to what God has called us to do. Our wealth. Nicodemus would have had to have given up a lot to follow Christ, and I just think that's just very relatable. So all that to say that I just want to encourage all of you that what God has in store for us, when we follow and embark on whatever path it is that He's put in front of us. The outcome is much greater than we can even imagine, because God is good, and He loves His people, and He's a generous God. But yeah, I just wanted to encourage you guys, that to really take this time to embrace what God is calling you to do, and to lay down whatever it is that may be a distraction or a burden, that's somehow preventing you from living out your fullest in Christ. But love you guys. Again, we look forward to seeing you again when we're able to.